Shocking confession. Broke girl's awkward blind date. Single dad CEO couldn't believe her struggle. It was supposed to be just another date, a chance to connect. But as Jenna sat at the glitzy corner table of La Bella Notte, her heart raced. Tonight, she wasn't just meeting any guy. She was facing a single dad CEO, a man whose life was a whirlwind of suits and board meetings. And here she was, in her hand-me-down dress from Goodwill, feeling out of place like a moth in a room full of butterflies. The swanky surroundings felt like a trap, too many glamorous lights and whispers of laughter. She swallowed hard. What was she thinking? Would he see through her bravado? Then, the door swung open, and in walked Aaron, the embodiment of everything that made her stomach flip tall, striking features, and an air of confidence. Yet, his relaxed smile disarmed her. She couldn't look away. He was too easy on the eyes. Nervously wringing her hands, she took a breath, trying to calm the storm in her chest. But then she noticed something odd. His shirt was slightly wrinkled, the cuffs mismatched. Was this the CEO she imagined? "Hey, Jenna," he said, his voice warm and inviting. He settled across from her, and for a second, everything felt right. But as they chatted, Jenna's nerves began to crystallize into an unnerving realization. Aaron wasn't just a dad. He was a single dad. Was it wrong to wonder if he had time for anything other than work and his child? The more they talked, the more she felt like an imposter in her own life. And then it hit her. The reason for this date wasn't just chemistry. She needed a lifeline, a spark of hope. Just as tension hung thick in the air, Jenna blurted out her truth. "I'm broke." She could hardly believe the words left her mouth. Aaron's expression shifted, curiosity mingled with disbelief. But before he could respond, laughter erupted at the nearby table. It pierced through the moment like a loud siren. Jenna's face burned. She felt exposed, vulnerable. Had she just ruined everything? "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As Jenna's heart raced, Aaron leaned in, his eyes glinting with something she couldn't decipher. "No need to feel ashamed. We all struggle sometimes." He spoke softly, like a gentle breeze easing the weight on her shoulders. But despite his kindness, confusion swirled in her mind. Was this pity or genuine concern? Suddenly, everything felt precarious, like walking a tightrope above a chasm. Would he stay? Would he judge her? The moment hung in the air, thick and potent. Then he revealed something about himself that shocked her to the core. "I had it all once, you know," he said, absently stirring his drink, a shadow flicking across his face. "Then life threw me a curveball. I didn't expect to be a single parent in my position." His words dripped with uncertainty, and Jenna felt a tremor in his voice. She locked her eyes on him, intrigued. What was his story? What secrets lay behind that confident facade? But before she could ask, his phone chimed, breaking the moment. "I should take this," he said, stepping away. As she watched him walk off, her gut twisted. What was looming in his life? And would he ever realize just how unworthy she felt to be here, sharing this moment with a man like him? Jenna sat alone, anxiety clawing at her insides. Did she dare to hope that behind all this glamour, there might be something real, some connection that could bridge the wide chasm of their worlds? Or would this just be a fleeting fairy tale, swallowed by reality? As he returned, his expression unreadable, the clock on the wall ticked ominously, counting down their time together. And she couldn't help but wonder, what else was he hiding? Jenna stared at the glass of water in front of her, the condensation trickling slowly down the sides. Each droplet mirrored the uncertainty swirling within her. As Aaron returned, his face was a mixture of determination and distraction. He glanced apologetically, then slid back into his seat, his phone still vibrating on the table between them. "Sorry about that," he said, his voice more animated now. "It was my assistant, just checking on a few things." He reached for his drink, but his expression remained distant, as if the call had stolen some of his focus. Everything okay? Jenna asked, surprised by the concern creeping into her tone. She didn't want to pry, but a part of her, the part that hungered for real connection, needed to know if this regal facade had cracks. Yeah, just a normal day in the office, you know? Business never sleeps, he muttered, then looked at her more closely. But enough about me. What about you? His eyes bored into her, a searching glint. The warmth of his gaze made her heart skip a beat, challenging her to reveal more than the scripted lines she had prepared in her mind. I'm just trying to get by. I mean, it's a bit chaotic, but I'm figuring it out. She forced a smile, but it felt fragile, like glass at the edge of a cliff. Could she let him see her struggle without it coming off as desperation? Figuring it out. That's honest, Aaron said, nodding slowly. Life throws so many curveballs, doesn't it? Jenna felt a rush of relief at his understanding. Maybe she hadn't ruined everything after all. But just as she opened her mouth to dive deeper, a loud voice from the nearby table cut through their fragile moment. Hey, is that the latest CEO? Look at him, slumming it with the broke girl. Someone chuckled, followed by a chorus of laughter. The laughter felt like daggers to her heart. The spotlight shifted back onto her, and every ounce of bravado dissolved into embarrassment. She glanced at Aaron, her cheeks burning. Would he see her as they did? A fraud trying to cling to something that was never hers? But instead of embarrassment, he looked furious. Excuse me? He snapped, standing up abruptly. Everyone fell silent, the jabber becoming a memefest. Jenna's pulse raced. Yeah? You think you're better than her? Aaron took a step toward the group, his face flushed. Everyone has their story, and a little empathy wouldn't kill you. Jenna's heart danced on the edge of disaster. She wanted to pull him back, to hold him, to say that he didn't have to defend her, but the words stuck in her throat. She had always been so good at hiding. Now it felt like Aaron was trying to reveal parts of her she wasn't ready to share. Let's just go, she whispered, her voice small, nearly lost in the sudden silence. Aaron's gaze flickered back to her, a mixture of concern and determination in his eyes. No, Jenna, I want to let them talk to you like that. The heat of his words wrapped around her, both comforting and terrifying. With a deep breath, Jenna took a moment to ponder what would happen next. Would she let this date spiral into a scene? Or would she take the plunge, challenge everything herself, him, the very essence of why they were here? Aaron, she said, hesitating. We're at La Bellinate. Let us not make a scene. But her heart raced, pulsing with the thrill of unpredictability. He remained unwavering, his intensity palpable. You're worth standing up for, Jenna. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. As she met his fierce gaze, flames flickered in her chest. Could he truly mean that? Just then, the waiter approached, interrupting their defining moment. Is everything all right here? The waiter asked, a knowing glance darting between them and the nearby table. Jenna took a deep breath, steeling herself against the tide of emotions swirling within. One question flashed through her mind. Would she embrace this unexpected partnership with the man she barely knew, or would she retreat into the shadows, missing the chance for something real? A silent battle raged inside her as she considered the path that lay ahead. Suddenly the choice felt like a ticking clock, each second pulling at her being. But could she leap into the unknown? She took a deep breath, the air thick with tension. The laughter from the table echoed around her, pulling her back into the reality of the moment. But Aaron's unwavering gaze anchored her. There was strength in him, a resolve that made something inside her stir. Maybe it was courage waiting to break the surface. Let's just eat, Jenna said, her voice firmer now. We're here to enjoy ourselves, right? She tried to sound nonchalant, but her heart raced at the prospect of confrontation. What if they threw more insults? What if he walked away? Aaron exhaled heavily, his shoulders relaxing just a bit. You're right, he replied, but anger still lingered in his voice. He returned to his seat, but the tension in his posture suggested he wasn't finished. The waiter, sensing the shift, hurried back with their food, placing two beautifully plated dishes on the table. Jenna attempted to distract herself with the vibrant colors of the meal, but everything felt muted against the chaos of her emotions. She forked a piece of her gnocchi and forced it into her mouth, chewing more out of habit than hunger. The rich flavors elicited a moment of pleasure, but it was quickly swallowed by the rising tide of anxiety. Jenna noticed the group still looking their way, casting amused glances, whispering among themselves. Her chest tightened, Forget them, Aaron said, breaking the thick silence as he prodded his salad. One day you'll see their words don't define you. Don't even let it in. Jenna marveled at his confidence. It was infectious. Perhaps he was right, that their laughter was just noise, and she had the power to reshape its meaning. She met his gaze. You really think I can brush this off? Absolutely, he said, a faint smile hinting at the corners of his mouth. You're stronger than you know. Her heart skipped again, warmth sweeping over her. The connection felt real, like an electric current zapping between them. But as quickly as it sparked, doubts crept back in. Did he even know her story? Could he still care if he understood what she carried? Aaron, wait. Before we get too far into this, she began, her voice barely above a whisper. Before she could finish, the laughter erupted again. What are you two talking about, lovebirds? One of the voices called out, forcing her to wince. Shut it. Aaron shot back, his face turning red. He clenched his jaw, handling the situation with intensity. Jenna's heart sank. He shouldn't have to defend her so fiercely. Let us not do this, okay? She urged, reaching across the table to lightly touch his hand. You don't need to fight my battles. I can handle myself. Yeah, but you shouldn't have to, he replied, his eyes softening as they met hers. There was a flicker of something deeper in his gaze, an understanding she hadn't anticipated. I just want you to realize you're worth so much more than their words. In that fleeting moment, Jenna felt the scales tipping. She could either return to her shell or step out into the light. The reverberations of self-doubt battled against the flickering candle of hope within her. What if she let him in? What if everything changed? Aaron, she started again, but he leaned closer, the distance disappearing. There was urgency in his voice, as if he was aware of the weight of unspoken truths looming between them. Listen to me, Jenna, he urged. You're not just a broke girl on a blind date. You have dreams, passions, a story worth telling, and I want to know all of it. Her breath caught, suddenly heavy with the knowledge of what lay underneath. Could she embrace this? Could she share her truth and face the fallout? An electric thrill shot through her, a story begging to be told. But just then, a loud crash came from the nearby table, followed by a shriek of laughter, shattering the moment. Jenna looked up, heart racing again. What now? Let us get out of here, she blurted, the need for change surging within her. The escapade felt like a promise, a leap into the unknown. She had no idea what lay ahead, but a thrill of anticipation held her. Would she embrace this chance for something deeper? With Aaron? Or would the walls that had cradled her for so long pull her back into the shadows again? The night had only just begun, and everything was still uncertain. The moment spilled into chaos as Jenna stood, adrenaline coursing through her veins like wildfire. She shot a glance at the table of mockers, who were still snickering at their last remark, and then back to Aaron, who looked both stunned and resolute. Are you serious? He asked, pushing his chair back and standing. His confusion quickly transformed into a surge of determination. Let us get out of here. His words ignited something inside her, a flicker of hope against the tension that had built up all evening. They navigated through the tight crowd, Aaron gently guiding her along as if he sensed her need for protection. The din of the restaurant faded behind them as they pushed through the doors, stepping out into the cool night air. Jenna paused outside, her breath coming in quick bursts. The laughter and jeers faded, but the weight of unspoken words still hung in the air between them. Thank you for standing up for me, she managed, though her voice trembled slightly, betraying the relief mixed with lingering anxiety. A person shouldn't be made to feel small, he replied, his tone low, almost intimate. Especially not for just being themselves. A chill swept through her, and the firm resolve in his voice blanketed her with warmth. The world before them glimmered under the streetlights, the stars twinkling overhead. Suddenly, the city felt less like a prison and more like an open road, stretching out toward possibility. But just as they began to walk, the silence settled like fog, thick and suffocating. I want to tell you something, Jenna ventured, stopping mid-step. Her heart drummed loudly in her chest, competing with the distant sounds of nightlife around them. Aaron turned to her, his expression a mixture of patience and curiosity. What is on your mind? I'm not just some girl looking for a good time. She took a shaky breath, glancing away. I've struggled with a lot of things. Money, family, my past. It's not easy for me to just let it go. She could see Aaron processing her words, his brow furrowing slightly as he approached her. "You don't have to explain yourself. You're not alone in this." His words, though meant to comfort, made the truth weigh heavier. "But you don't know everything. There are things I've done. Things that haunt me." His gaze never wavered, and in the depths of his eyes, she saw something remarkable, a challenging spark, an unspoken invitation for honesty. "Just tell me," he said softly, urging her to continue. "Maybe it's time to shed that weight." Jenna swallowed hard, the lump in her throat widening as memories surged forward, each one sharp and vivid. She closed her eyes to the crowd around them, the laughter fading into a distant echo. "I dropped out of college. I used to work 3 jobs. I still can't afford rent." Every confession felt like adding bricks to a wall she had built around herself. But as she spoke, she felt lighter too, a flicker of courage bursting through. "And my parents?" The words fell out like stones from a heavy sack. "They don't understand me. They think I'm a failure." Silence pierced the night, heavy and tense, hanging like a fog. She opened her eyes to see Aaron studying her, his expression solemn yet gentle. "Do you want to change that?" Jenna felt daunted by the question. She had spent so long just surviving that she hadn't considered a different path, a road leading away from hurt. "I don't know what that would entail," she admitted, her vulnerability exposed. The unease was palpable as they stood there, the city alive around them, but everything else seemed to disappear. In that moment, it was just them. Jenna's heart raced as the possibilities flared, illuminating a path she had been too afraid to walk before. Just then, from the shadows of the alley beside the restaurant, she heard a commotion. The sound of raised voices and scuffling feet drew her attention and shattered her fragile bubble of secrecy. "Did you hear that?" Aaron asked, alert now, his focus shifting toward the noise. "Yeah," Jenna whispered, anxiety creeping back in like an unwelcome guest. She could feel the tension rolling. And again, the thrill of exploration now overlapping with fear. They edged closer to the source, curiosity and dread clawing at her insides. What was happening just out of sight? Against the backdrop of her revelations, danger loomed, and all at once she felt the familiar weight of her past shrouding her present. Would she retreat to the safety of her silence? Or step into the unknown that seemed to beckon, even as shadows gathered in the alley? The night was still young, and whispers of change hung in the air. A decision lay just within reach. What lay beyond the shadows? Jenna took a cautious step forward, her heart pounding in rhythm with the muffled shouting. The alley swallowed the light from the street, painting everything in shades of uncertainty. Aaron was right beside her, his presence a quiet strength as they approached the scene. As they edged closer, the shouts grew clearer, sharper. "You think you can just walk away from this?" A man barked, his voice laced with anger, while another voice whined in protest. It sounded almost desperate. Jenna's chest tightened. "Maybe we should call the police," she whispered, her eyes darting back to Aaron, who shook his head. "No time for that," he said. "We have to see what's going on first." With that, he moved ahead, and Jenna followed, her pulse racing as her instinct to run battled with the urge to know. In the dimness, figures became clearer, the faces of 2 men, one towering with rage, the other much smaller, pleading, his hands raised as if in surrender. Jenna's breath hitched when she recognized the desperate figure as the waiter from the restaurant. She took a shaky step back, fear gripping her. "What is happening?" she whispered, almost to herself. "Shoo," Aaron warned, his voice barely audible. They watched, frozen, as the taller man shoved the waiter against the wall. "You're not getting out of this." "I know you took the money." The man spat, his words venomous. The waiter stammered. "I swear it was an accident. Just give me another chance." Jenna felt the heat of fury rising within her. That waiter had been nothing but kind. She didn't fully grasp the situation, but she couldn't bear witnessing someone being intimidated like that. She opened her mouth to speak, but Aaron's hand landed on her arm, backing her up. "We can't intervene. It could get dangerous." Their breaths mingled in the cold air, tense and urgent. Jenna felt an odd mix of guilt and anger rising inside her. She wanted to help, but what could she possibly do? Suddenly, she heard a loud crack, the sound of a fist hitting flesh. The waiter crumpled to the ground, and her heart lurched. She pressed her lips together tightly, hand vibrating as fear coursed through her. "Help!" The waiter gasped, eyes wide, searching for rescue. And in that moment, Something shifted within Jenna. I can't just watch this happen, she whispered fiercely. Before she knew it, Jenna was stepping forward, the noise from the street fading into a dull roar as determination filled her. Hey! It sounded thin, but she hoped the conviction in her voice delivered a different message. The taller man turned sharply, surprise flashing in his eyes as he assessed her challenge. What did you say? He sneered, his aggression shifting focus. The waiter groaned behind him, but Jenna's heartbeat drowned out all fear. Let him go? You've made your point. A wave of courage surged through her as she faced the man, trembling but defiant. Aaron stepped beside her, a low growl rumbling in his chest. Jenna, wait, but she was past listening. You're bullying him over something that doesn't even concern you. That's pathetic. The man's expression darkened. And you think I care about your opinion? The air felt electric, a charged moment where anything could happen. She could see the wheels turning in his head, contemplating his next move. Just then, Jenna heard the crunch of footsteps behind her, different from the confrontation unfolding. The shadows of unseen figures entered the periphery of their confrontation. Who else wants some? The tall man scoffed, eyes narrowing. Jenna's stomach twisted. She glanced at Aaron, who looked equally uncertain, and suddenly felt exposed. She hadn't considered the consequences of her boldness. Would her voice make them back off, or had she just placed herself in even greater danger? Everything hinged on that moment. Tension thickened around them like a noose. And just as the first man started to close the distance between them, confident yet erratic, Jenna knew they were stepping into a storm. This was only the beginning of something far darker than she could have imagined. What else awaited them in the shadows? The taller man took a step forward, his shadow swallowing the faint light left in the alley. Jenna's stomach churned as the tension tightened around her chest like a vice. Still, she stood her ground, every nerve in her body screaming at her to run, to flee from this confrontation. What are you going to do, pretty girl? He sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. Every word felt like a dagger, aimed not just at her, but at the waiter who lay gasping on the ground. Think you can save your little friend with that mouth? Aaron shifted beside her, his body tensing, eyes darting between Jenna and the looming figure. We need to get out of here, he said urgently, but Jenna couldn't move. She was frozen, adrenaline coursing through her veins, giving her a false sense of invincibility. Jenna. Aaron's hushed tone shot through the haze of anger and determination filling her mind. He reached out, hand gripping her arm firmly, but she shook free, eyes locked onto the man who had just struck the waiter. Let him go, she shot back, voice steady despite the quake in her hands. You know you don't have to do this. The man's lips curled into a sneer, twisting in incredulity. You think you can talk to me like that? He took another menacing step forward, and Jenna felt the air thicken with malice. Behind her, there was movement. More shadows. A group of 3 men materialized from the darkness, forming a wall of intimidation. Jenna's heart skipped. A part of her wanted to scream, to bolt, to abandon her misplaced bravery, but a fiercer part of her craved justice, no matter how misguided. What is going on here? One of the newcomers said, stepping closer, scanning the scene with eyes glinting in the low light. Just a little friendly chat, the taller man replied, sarcasm dripping from his words. He turned his attention back to Jenna. You should be careful. You don't know what kind of trouble you're asking for. The waiter groaned again, pushing himself up with effort, blood trickling from his lip. His eyes flickered between Jenna and Aaron, desperate yet filled with gratitude. In that moment, she understood the stakes. This wasn't just about her bravery anymore. It was about a man who needed help. Enough, Jenna shouted, surprising even herself. The word echoed in the alley, cutting through the tension. The new man stepped into the fray, blocking the taller aggressor. That's enough, Corey. Back off. His voice was firm, commanding. Corey hesitated, visibly pondering his next move, eyes narrowing into slits as he weighed his choices. The second man moved closer to Jenna, concern etched on his face. Are you okay? You shouldn't be here. I'm fine, she replied, jaw clenched. But he needs help. A tense silence fell, thick as smoke. The air tasted metallic dangerous. Corey was still glaring, and Jenna could see the gears turning in his head. How to turn this situation in his favor. Then, without warning, Corey lunged toward the waiter, ready to deliver another blow. A rush of adrenaline surged through Jenna, an instinct kicked in. "Get away from him!" she screamed. The world seemed to freeze in that moment. The newcomer reached out, grabbing Corey by the arm, but in the flurry, Jenna felt a hand grasp her wrist, pulling her away. She whirled around, panic igniting all over again. Aaron's face was inches from hers, fierce and protective. "We need to move. Now." But pounding her heart drowned out reason. Glancing back at the waiter, terror broke through her brave facade. Would he be okay? Was this really where she was supposed to be? The chaos unfolded around them, a whirlwind of threats, shouts, and shoving bodies. But Jenna's eyes remained locked on the waiter, clinging to hope. Just then, a loud crash echoed down the alley, followed by the unmistakable sound of sirens in the distance. "Run," Aaron urged, pulling Jenna with him. Stumbling together, they fled down the darkened path, the sound of chaos chasing them like shadows. But a thought gnawed at the back of Jenna's mind. Would they escape the clutches of danger, or was this the beginning of a far more sinister game? What secrets lay ahead in the darkness? The sirens grew louder, transforming the once quiet alley into a cacophony of impending chaos. Jenna's heart raced, pounding like a drum, each beat a reminder of the danger lurking just behind them. She could still see the waiter's bruised face flickering in her mind like a distant beacon of pain, but the focus shifted to their escape. Aaron pulled her into a narrow side street, the older brick buildings pressing in close, looming like silent witnesses to their plight. Jenna struggled to keep pace, slipping on the damp pavement, but Aaron's grip remained firm, unyielding. "The car's just ahead," he gasped, glancing back. The shadows were gone now, but not the pulse of danger. Corey was still out there. And the others, who were they? "Did you see the way he looked at us?" Jenna said breathlessly. "He is not just some thug in an alley." "Does it matter?" Aaron snapped, his voice churning with urgency. "We need to get out of here. Get to the car. I can't just leave him like that." Jenna protested, her voice rising with a mix of defiance and fear. "What if they come back?" "They will come back. You don't understand who these guys are." His frustration was palpable, but so was his fear. They turned another corner, and the street opened up slightly, revealing a parked sedan. The flickering lights from nearby buildings painted it in dashes of harsh white and soft yellow. Safety was so close, yet the dread tinged her thoughts. "Get in," Aaron ordered, pushing her toward the passenger side. She fumbled with the door handle, hands shaking as her thoughts raced. "What about the waiter?" "Go," he urged as they climbed in. Aaron started the engine, and the roar of the car startled her, a reminder that their window of safety was fleeting. She glanced back just as the alley filled with more shadows, figures spilling out like ink blotting the page. "Where do we go?" Jenna said, her voice small and pure panic bleeding through. "Anywhere away from here." He turned the wheel, tires screeching as they peeled down the street. The sirens drew closer, a siren call to chaos, and Jenna's heart matched their relentless rhythm. Her thoughts were a frantic mess. What were those guys going to do to him? She asked, fear lodging like a rock in her throat. "I've seen that kind before," Aaron said tersely, grim lines etching his face. "People like that don't stop at anything. They'll hurt him if they think it will get them what they want." "What do they want?" "Power," he spat. "Control. It's all about fear." His voice cracked slightly, showing the depth of his unease. "And they want to stop. Not until they have it." Fisting her hands in her lap, Jenna's heart sank. The waiter's desperate eyes haunted her. "We can't leave him. We need to go back." "Are you crazy? What if we could help him?" Aaron pulled the car over hard, nearly sending her into the dashboard. "You really want to get yourself killed over some stranger? You don't know the kind of people we're dealing with." "Maybe I'm willing to take that risk." The words were out before she could stop them, fueled by desperation and adrenaline. He ran a hand through his hair, tension shimmering in the air between them. "Think about this. If we go back now, we might become targets ourselves." A thick silence followed. The weight of their choices hung heavy, the chaos of their surroundings blending with their inner turmoil. Jenna closed her eyes, imagining the waiter alone, vulnerable against those men. And suddenly a thought sparked, almost painfully bright. What if there's a way to help him without going back directly? "What are you talking about?" "If we can draw their attention away, maybe someone else can get to him. He might still be alive." Aaron's eyes narrowed. "That's a risky play, so is doing nothing," she shot back, voice fierce. We can't let them win. He exhaled slowly, weighing her words. But something flickered across his face. Was it hesitation or agreement? Fine. But we do this my way. Jenna nodded, a mix of dread and determination surging inside her. But time was slipping away, and the darkness was closing in fast. Let us move, he said, eyes locked on the rearview mirror as they pulled back onto the road. A sense of purpose ignited inside her, battling against the fear. Suddenly, her phone vibrated in her pocket. She pulled it out, and her heart sank. A message flashed across the screen. I have him. Come find me if you dare. The sender's name sent chills running down her spine. Who was that? Aaron asked, alarm flashing in his eyes. I don't know, she whispered, feeling the walls of terror closing in again. But I think we just stepped into something even worse. What awaited them on this new path? Would their attempt to save the waiter lead them into a world darker than they ever imagined? Jenna's breath caught in her throat as the implications swirled in her mind. Each heartbeat felt like a countdown, a pulse of terror underscoring the urgency of their situation. The hum of the car engine faded under the roar of her racing thoughts. Who sent you that message? Aaron asked, his eyes darting from the road to her, radiating anxiety. I swear I don't know, she replied, shaking her head, hands trembling with anxiety. But it can't be good. We need to figure this out. Now. A shiver slithered down her spine. The city wound around them, streets blurring under the headlights, shadows twisting into menacing shapes. Jenna could almost feel the gaze of unseen eyes on her, watching, waiting. What if this is a trap? Aaron frowned, gripping the wheel tighter. What if they're trying to take you as leverage? Me? Why me? She asked, her voice quaking. The thought of being used as a pawn sent a wave of nausea through her. Whoever sent that text knows you're involved. They might think you're valuable somehow, Aaron said, grim determination etching deeper lines into his brow. Or maybe they just want to scare you. I just can't sit here and do nothing. Fire ignited in her belly, pushing through the fear. The waiter's face lingered in her mind like a ghost. What if we can lure them out? Aaron cast a quick glance toward her, weighing her words. And expose ourselves even more? Wouldn't it be better to confront the danger than run from it? She pressed, searching for a hint of agreement in his eyes. The tense silence filled the car, punctuated only by the sound of their breathing and the distant wail of sirens. All right, he finally nodded, though skepticism lingered in his voice. Let us say we draw them out. How do you plan to do that? Jenna hesitated, piecing the plan together in her mind. If we make it appear like we're going somewhere obvious, maybe Corey and the others will take the bait. It might give the waiter the chance to escape, or at least make it easier for someone else to help him. Bold and reckless. Aaron's grip relaxed slightly as he processed her strategy, but concern remained in his gaze. We have to act fast. The longer we wait, the tighter their grip on him will be. Where do you suggest we go? Jenna's eyes moved nervously across the dark streets, catching fleeting glimpses of flickering neon signs. Somewhere busy. A bar or a club somewhere they won't expect an attack. Aaron shot her a skeptical look. You really think that'll work? Their focus is on us. We have to draw that focus even more. Adrenaline surged, igniting her resolve. Please, Aaron. Trust me. He sighed sharply, straightening his posture. Fine. A bar it is. But if anything seems off, we run no questions asked. Deal. Moments later, they approached a bustling street alive with vivacious energy. The thumping bass of music spilled into the air, mingling with laughter and conversation. But Jenna felt the vibrations in her chest, stitching together a mixture of exhilaration and dread. Aaron parked the car, their surroundings awash in neon blues and greens. Are you ready? He asked, glancing at her one last time. She took a deep breath, pulling courage from deep within. Let us do this. They stepped out into the chaotic night, blending in as best they could while scanning the crowd for any sign of trouble. But as they entered the bar, an unsettling chill washed over Jenna. The laughter echoed loudly around her, but she could feel the tension creeping back in. A flicker of movement caught her eye. Someone watched from the shadows near the entrance. And for a split second, everything froze. Stay close, Aaron whispered, sensing her anxiety flaring. Do you see them? Not yet. His voice held a mix of fear and vigilance. Just then, the crowd shifted. A figure emerged, cutting through the throng like a knife. Dark eyes locked onto Jenna, an eerie smile creeping onto familiar features. The air thickened with something far more dangerous than she had anticipated. "Hello, Jenna," the figure said, a voice dripping with mockery. "I've been waiting for you." A wave of icy fear crashed over her, grounding her in the reality that they were in way over their heads. "Who the hell are you?" Aaron demanded, stepping protectively in front of Jenna. The smile widened, predatory and chilling. "Let us just say I know more about your little escapades than you realize." Jenna's heart raced. "What do you want from us?" "Not what. Who?" Her stomach sunk as recognition dawned. This was far more than a mere robbery or gang intimidation. They had crossed a line, and now the question loomed like a shadow over them, darkening the night. What would it cost them to find the waiter? Could they face the truth, or would they become the very victims they dreaded? Suddenly, the bar door swung open, and the chaos inside faded away. A trap had sprung. Jenna's mind raced as the words echoed ominously. The figure stepped closer, the dim light revealing a familiar face that twisted her stomach. It was Sam, her former colleague, someone she thought she could trust. The revelation crashed over her like a cold wave. "Why are you doing this?" she managed to ask, her voice shaky but resolute. "You were supposed to be on our side." A slow grin spread across Sam's face, and it repulsed her. "Was I? Or was I just playing my part? After all, it's easier to fool you when you trust someone." "Trust? You think this is about trust?" Aaron's voice was low, laced with a dangerous edge. "This isn't a game." "No, it isn't." Sam shrugged, his confidence almost mocking. "But you've stepped into a world you don't understand, Jenna. You should ve stayed away." The crowd around them seemed to shift, a sea of faces oblivious to the danger curling around the trio in the dark corner. Jenna felt exposed, and their proximity made her heart race faster. She turned slightly, searching for an exit, but panic clawed at her throat. "What do you want, Sam?" Jenna tried to ground herself, thinking through her options. Perhaps she could still defuse this. "If you're after the waiter, I can help you. Just let him go." His laugh echoed in the air, cold and empty. "Help me? You have no idea what I'm after. The waiter is just a pawn in a much larger game. You see, I'm not just watching you. I'm orchestrating everything. The message, the fear, it's all part of my design." Jenna felt the room spin. Her instincts screamed that every word was a calculated manipulation meant to unnerve her. And it was working. You couldn't have planned this all," she stammered, disbelief fueling her defiance. "Oh, but I did. Let us just say I've gotten quite good at reading people and the people you associate with." His eyes darted briefly to Aaron, a glimmer of something sinister in his smile. "Even him. You think he's your savior, but in reality, he's only one misstep away from betrayal. Don't you dare talk about him." Jenna snapped, her voice rising above the dull roar of the bar. But doubt crept in, gnawing at her edges. What if Sam was right? What if Aaron, in this messed-up game, was the unknown variable? Distrust among friends can be very dangerous, Sam taunted, savoring the chaos swirling in Jenna's eyes. "Stop it. You don't scare me." Fear burned in her chest, but it fueled her determination. Something deeper was at play, and she needed to keep her wits about her. A loud crash broke through the tension. A shelf tipped in the back where glasses had been precariously stacked. The crowd gasped, and in that moment of distraction, Jenna grabbed Aaron's arm. "We need to get out of here now." But as they turned to push through the crowd, Sam blocked their path. "You think you can escape just like that? You're too deep, Jenna. This is just the beginning. Get out of our way." Aaron shouted, his protective instincts kicking in. "I can't do that." Sam's voice turned cold, and that eerie smile didn't leave his face. "You need to make a choice. Stay and face the consequences, or run while you still can." Jenna's heart hammered as she weighed their options. The walls of the bar seemed to close in on them. She could feel eyes on her, and dread began to settle into her bones. Suddenly, the door burst open again. A wave of unfamiliar faces flooded in, their intentions unreadable. Jenna glanced back at Sam, and the smug confidence in his expression sent a chill skittering down her spine. "Are you ready to gamble with your life yet?" he asked mockingly, but a sense of urgency bubbled in Jenna. She needed a plan, and fast. They were out of time. "Run," she urged Aaron, gripping his hand tightly. They pushed through the throng, hearts pounding, adrenaline coursing through their veins. But as they reached the bar's exit, Jenna's gut twisted with a sinking feeling. The world outside didn't look safe either. Would they make it out before it was too late? As Sam taunted them from behind, their path lay shrouded in uncertainty. What awaited them in the neon-lit night? And how much longer would they be able to evade the web of deception closing in? The night air was electric as Jenna and Aaron burst outside, hearts pounding, adrenaline roaring in their ears. They darted toward the nearest alley, urgency driving them. Shadows lurked, but the cool breeze caressed their clammy skin, offering a brief respite from the chaos within. What now? Aaron gasped, urgency etched on his face. We can't stay out here long. Panic was a living thing, tightening around them like a vice. Jenna pressed her back against the cold brick wall, heart racing as she tried to catch her breath. We need to think. Sam knows everything. He won't leave us alone. Aaron ran a hand through his hair, frustration boiling beneath his calm veneer. With him involved, we're in deeper than we thought. But it's not just us. It's the waiter. He needs help. His determination sparked something inside of her, lighting the dark corners of her doubt. What about the message? What if they have him? Jenna felt her chest tighten, the reality of the situation crashing over her like a wave. We need to find him. We need a plan, Aaron replied, gaze steely. First, we have to make sure we stay under their radar. If Sam knows we're looking for the waiter, he'll use that against us. Then let us use him, Jenna said, a sudden clarity washing over her like a surge of adrenaline. We can't just run. We have to play this smart. Aaron nodded, his features molding into focus. All right, we need to get back to that bar, but not obviously. If we can get in, act natural, we might be able to find out where they've taken the waiter. What if we run into Sam again? The thought made Jenna's stomach twist. He's counting on us to be scared, Aaron replied, voice firm. We show no fear, we blend in, and we gather information. A confidence wrapped around her like a shield. She could feel it, the wild thumping of her heart slowly becoming steadier. Together, they moved back toward the bar, slipping through the shadows, weaving past groups of partygoers unaware of the storm brewing just moments ago. The pulsing music welcomed them back as they stepped inside, the light flashing above like chaotic fireworks, obscuring their entrance. Stick close, Aaron whispered as they maneuvered through the crowd, shoulders brushing against strangers, weaving past laughter and spilled drinks. Every face felt like a potential threat. Jenna's stomach fluttered with unease. You feel that? She asked, her pulse quickening. We can't let Sam spot us. As they approached the bar, they overheard snippets of conversation. A group of men huddled together, eyes darting, hushed whispers gripping their voices. Jenna focused in, her heart hammering. What if they're discussing the waiter? No need to eavesdrop, Aaron suggested, his expression tight. We'll just ask. But before Jenna could respond, a familiar laugh pierced through the noise. Her heart sank. Please don't let that be. Turning slowly, she found Sam leaning against the bar, radiating confidence, talking with a new mob of dubious-looking acquaintances. Their eyes gleamed, glancing toward Jenna and Aaron, swirling with threat. What do we do? She whispered, panic bubbling again. We create a distraction, Aaron said, and then took a deep breath, locking eyes with Jenna. When they're distracted, we slip away. Not alone. If something goes wrong, it's now or never, he urged, gathering her hand in his. With a quick nod, Jenna steeled herself and moved toward the bar, putting her heart on the line. They maneuvered through the crowd, each step feeling like stepping over a cliff's edge. What'll you have? Aaron shouted over the music, reaching the bar with a grin that felt forced, masking their growing tension. Raunchy drinks all around, Jenna added, going for enthusiasm, a spark of bravery in a tense moment. The bartender rolled his eyes but poured 2 shots of something bright and colorful. Jenna felt the double-shot glasses clink between their fingers. Alcohol burned, but somehow also steadied her nerves. And then, she spotted it. Across the bar, a figure turned. The waiter. He was chatting nervously with another patron, but kept glancing around. A wave of relief washed over her. Look, Aaron. That's him. Okay, we'll try to reach him. But we need to be careful, Aaron replied, keeping his voice steady under the din, but Sam's voice cut through the air, clearly recognizing them. Look who it is. The darlings of chaos. His voice rang, dripping with mocking delight. Jenna's heart raced again. Run. But as they turned, Men sprang up around them like shadows, forming barriers. Aaron stepped towards Jenna, urgency etched on his face. Stay behind me. Whatever happens, we don't let him manipulate this. The tension wrapped around them, thick and potent, as Sam continued taunting them with a knowing smile. You didn't think it would be this easy, did you? Let him go, Jenna demanded, trembling but resolute. He has nothing to do with our choices. Oh, but he does now, Sam replied, stepping closer, menacing. He has become a part of this little game, just as you both have. The whirlwind of emotions, fear, anger, and determination converged. Jenna's heart raced faster. This was the moment she had dreaded, yet craved. He.s. innocent, Sam. We want to stand aside while you do this. But you already are, Sam countered smoothly. This isn't a fairy tale, Jenna. It's survival. Then it's time we fight for ours. In that moment, it felt like the world around her faded, and everything became clear. There was power in camaraderie, in standing up for the vulnerable, and they had each other. Let us go, she shouted, grabbing Aaron's hand tightly. They burst forward, shoving past the men blocking their way, adrenaline driving them into action against the noise surging all around. But would they break through the tides of danger? Each footfall emerged from chaos with clarity, reckoning and hope intertwined as they plunged back into the uncertain night. The fight for justice had begun, and their resolve would light the dark paths ahead because they were no longer just players, they were the game changers. After all they had fought for, Jenna felt the wildfire of possibility igniting within her. This was their story, and they had the power to reshape it. And out there, waiting just outside the chaos, was a light of hope, the waitress' freedom and their own to grasp, challenge, and conquer. The end was now just the beginning. You need to subscribe now to be part of the next epic adventure. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Let us get those positive vibes rolling. Flood the comments section with your reactions, predictions, and theories because your voice matters. And don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who also need to see this amazing conclusion. Your support means the world to this community.